The blue orchid, Jake, on the ancient tombstones. The air was frigid, and the silence seemed to have a weight of its own. This was my first night shift as a security guard, and I was already questioning my decision. As I patrolled the grounds, I noticed a flickering light near the oldest section of the graveyard. My curiosity overcame my unease as I cautiously approached. The light seemed to emanate from an old lantern, swaying gently beside a weathered gravestone. My flashlight illuminated the inscription on the gravestone.
Eleanor Whitman, 1840 to 1885.
The light from the lantern flickered across the name, creating haunting shadows that appeared to be whispering secrets from a bygone period. I scanned the area, half expecting to see a mourner paying their respects, but there was no one in sight. As I lingered near Eleanor's resting place, a soft voice carried through the fog, barely audible.
She's gone, but not forgotten.
The sound of the words resonated, chilling me to the bone. I was not sure if it was something more ominous or just the wind playing games on my thoughts.
You know, she used to love these flowers.
I jumped as I turned to the voice that it came from. A chill ran down my spine as the person emerged from the shadows, holding a bouquet of wilting blue orchids. She had an air of timeless grace. Cloaked in a tailored white dress that accentuated her slender silhouette, she moved with the poise of a dancer. Her every gesture exuded a sense of quiet confidence and grace. Her style, and her makeup, reminded me of the 1800s. I stammered.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Ignoring my questions, the mysterious figure began to speak about Eleanor, recounting memories and sharing stories of her life, as if she was part of it. She spoke with a deep sense of nostalgia, as if reliving cherished moments. I was both captivated and unnerved by the intimate details she knew about Eleanor. She was so young, how could she have known Eleanor? I cautiously asked.
Are you a relative or a friend of Eleanor?
She paused, the mist swirling around her.
In a way, yes. Some bonds transcend the boundaries of life and death.
Suddenly, the figure gracefully extended the bouquet towards me.
Would you mind placing these on Eleanor's grave for me? Thank you.
Reluctantly, I took the flowers and made my way to Eleanor's resting place. As I laid the bouquet on the tombstone, the air grew colder, and the fog clung to the ground. I turned to thank the mysterious visitor, but she had vanished, leaving behind only the echoes of her words. Confused and intrigued, I returned to the security office after finishing my rounds. I searched through the graveyard's records but found no mention of Eleanor's story or the person who spoke of him. As I sifted through old photographs, a sense of disbelief washed over me. There, in a faded picture from the late 1800s, I saw a face that mirrored the person I had encountered, a woman named Eleanor Whitman. The realization struck me with a mix of awe and dread. One night during my shift, Brandon. The night was dark and cold as I arrived at the graveyard for my shift. The pale glow of the moon cast eerie shadows over the tombstones, creating a surreal atmosphere. During the graveyard shift, I was the only caretaker responsible for maintaining the graves, which was a nerve-wracking job that made me shudder. As I wandered through the rows of tombstones, the only sounds that accompanied me were the distant howls of a chilling wind. The cemetery was a barren landscape, with old trees standing sentinel overhead, their limbs extending like bony fingers. The living rarely visited that place, and with good cause. I began my routine, checking each grave for any signs of disturbance or wear. The soft crunch of gravel under my boots echoed through the stillness, and my breath hung in the air like ghostly tendrils. The only light came from the flickering lantern I carried, casting long, distorted shadows that danced across the graves. As I moved deeper into the graveyard, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. It was as if the very air around me held a silent audience of unseen eyes. The sensation intensified with every step, sending shivers down my spine. I tried to brush it off as my imagination running wild, but an inexplicable unease lingered. A sudden gust of wind extinguished my lantern, plunging me into darkness. I struggled to relight it as panic struck. A faint voice that sounded like it was coming from the ground below me suddenly reached out to me in that vulnerable moment.
Leave.
It urged, a spectral echo that sent chills through my bones. I strained my ears, but the graveyard remained eerily silent. Resolute, I continued my rounds, my lantern casting a feeble glow on the tombstones. As I reached the older section of the graveyard, the air grew thicker, and a musty scent enveloped me. It was a smell of decay, of memories long forgotten. A figure emerged from the shadows, a silhouette dressed in tattered garments. Panic surged through me as I tried to discern if it was a living person or something else entirely. The figure moved with an otherworldly grace, gliding between the graves. My heart raced, and I called out.
Who's there?
The only response was a low, guttural moan that seemed to emanate from the very earth itself. I quickened my pace, the crunch of gravel now drowned out by the haunting moans. The figure continued to shadow me, its presence a constant reminder of the spectral energy that permeated the graveyard. I could feel its gaze upon me, a gaze that seemed to pierce through the darkness and into my very soul. In a desperate attempt to escape, I veered off the main path, taking a shortcut through the gnarled trees. The air grew colder, and the moonlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy above. The moans persisted, surrounding me like a chorus of the damned. My lantern flickered menacingly, throwing long shadows that appeared to be reaching out to grab hold of me. I discovered an old mausoleum as I staggered through the shadows. Its worn doors creaked open, letting in a suffocating fog. The moans intensified, now echoing through the stone chambers. I was terrified, but an unexplainable force compelled me to step inside. I navigated the cryptic passages, each turn leading me deeper into the heart of the mausoleum. I caught glimpses of phantom-like beings in the faint light, translucent forms gazing blankly into space. Silent pleadings echoed across the room as they extended their hand to me. Their thin, frigid fingertips touched me, sending goosebumps down my spine. The air got stuffy as the voices built to a gloomy chorus. I discovered an old crypt with a slightly open entrance. A little light glowed within, beckoning me in. There was an unnatural illumination in the room as soon as I pushed open the door. A collapsing tomb stood over a shadowy figure in the center of the crypt. Its voice roared across the room, and its eyes radiated an unnatural brightness.
Leave this place.
The words echoed in my head, commanding.
Your presence disturbs the slumber of the forgotten.
I lurched backward, heart thumping in my chest, unable to resist. The whispers of the forgotten souls reached a deafening crescendo, and the crypt appeared to shut in around me. The ghostly apparitions vanished into the shadows as I left the mausoleum. It was silent again in the graveyard as I stepped out into the starry night. The ghostly form hung over me, its warning burned into my awareness. I vowed not to come back as I staggered out of the cemetery. If you're enjoying the spine-chilling narratives we bring to you, don't forget to show your support by smashing that like button. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to stay updated on all things creepy and mysterious. We've got a lot more nightmares to share, and we want you along for the ride.